The ICU lights were glaringly white and harsh. I had just crawled back from the brink of death when I saw my husband Ethan and his assistant Chloe sneering at me through the glass. The doctor asked the family to sign the consent form. Ethan crossed his arms, looking impatient. She's responsible for her own body. Chloe giggled in agreement. Sister Ava always has her own ideas. I used the last bit of strength to sign my name on the consent form, then completely slipped into darkness. 10 years of marriage, only to have them watch my life and death moment like it was a farce that didn't concern them. The ICU lights were glaringly white and harsh. I had just crawled back from the brink of death when I saw my husband Ethan and his assistant Chloe sneering at me through the glass. The doctor held the surgical consent form, frowning. The patient's condition is critical and requires immediate surgery. Family, please sign as soon as possible. Ethan crossed his arms, looking impatient. Her own body, her own responsibility. She's an adult. Chloe laughed softly and linked her arm with his, her voice just loud enough to reach my ears. Ethan, don't be so anxious. Ava always knows what she's doing. Maybe she just wants to lie down a little longer. The sarcasm in that tone stabbed into my heart like a needle. I looked at them as if they were two strangers. 10 years of marriage, 10 years of support, from having nothing to the company going public. I thought we were partners fighting side by side. Lovers who cared for each other through thick and thin. It turns out, in his eyes, I don't even have the right to sign my name, or rather, he would rather I failed to sign that name. A sharp pain in my chest, not from illness, but from the chill in my heart. I used the last bit of my strength, trembling as I raised my hand to signal the nurse to give me the consent form. Under their indifferent gaze, I signed my name in the family section. The moment the pen tip tore through the paper, my world plunged into complete darkness. Sunlight poured in through the window, glaring somewhat harshly. I picked up my phone, habitually wanting to see if Ethan had left any messages. None, not a single one. I opened his WhatsApp, and his profile picture had already changed. It was no longer the profile picture I had taken of him, but a photo of him and Chloe together by the sea. He was holding Chloe by the waist, smiling brightly. The background was the sunset glow, as beautiful as a painting. I clicked into his Instagram. The latest post was from yesterday, with a picture of Chloe nestled in his arms, wearing a huge diamond ring on her hand. Caption, my queen. Scrolling down, it's all Chloe, eating together, watching movies together, attending various occasions together. My photos, not a single one left. It was as if I had never existed in his world. My chest felt as if something was blocking it, suffocating and uneasy. I switched to the company's internal Slack. Pinned at the top was a large group chat with hundreds of people, 99 plus unread messages. I clicked to check, and the latest few were all about me. When I woke up again, it was already 3 days later. Someone posted a photo of me looking haggard before I lost consciousness. It was secretly taken by Chloe. Chloe led the comments. The CEO's wife is really delicate, making a fuss over a minor illness so everyone knows. If you didn't know, you'd think we at Apex were abusing her. A bunch of people agreeing below. Exactly. They're an old married couple, yet she still shows off their love every day on Moments, calling him husband, as if afraid others won't know she married well. I heard this hospital stay was fake too, trying to win Ethan's sympathy? Ha ha ha. The act is over the top. Ethan totally doesn't buy it. I even saw Ethan's message. He sent a shrug emoji in the group chat, then updated his Instagram status, tired of drama, need peace, like a dull knife, repeatedly cutting into my heart. I was hospitalized in critical condition, fighting for my life, while they were partying in the group chat, mocking my performance. What exactly have I loved all these past 10 plus years? And what kind of thing have I been supporting? Anger churned in my chest like molten lava. I found those chat records saved on my phone. Chloe sent this to me, showing off her explicit conversation with Ethan. Baby, she's such a nuisance. When are you getting divorced? Soon. Once things settle down at the company, are you going to make her leave with nothing? She's been with you for so many years and has sacrificed a lot. Don't worry, I'll handle it cleanly. She'll get some money, but the company won't be involved. Annoying. It's not for the money, it's for you. There are also screenshots of Chloe instigating Ethan on how to give me cold treatment and force me to initiate the divorce. I used to find it disgusting and deleted it, but there was still a backup on the phone cloud. I took a deep breath and threw these screenshots, one by one, intact, into the company Slack group. At the same time, I added the text, Thank you all colleagues for your concern. I am Ava, hospitalized and rescued due to acute appendicitis with perforation, not faking illness. Also, regarding my marriage with Mr. Ethan, here is the explanation. We had long agreed to divorce. This incident has made me see some people and things clearly. I originally wanted to end things gracefully and save face for both of us, but now it seems unnecessary. These chat records are for everyone to enjoy. At Chloe at Ethan. After posting on Slack, I copied and pasted it, synchronizing the post to my Facebook and Instagram. I blocked family and unrelated friends, only opening it up to those colleagues and partners who care about me. After doing all this, I felt completely drained. My phone immediately blew up with notifications. He called again. I hung up again. Ava, are you crazy? Delete those things immediately. Withdraw them. Apologize to me. On the other end of the phone, Ethan's voice was frantic, almost shouting. I spoke calmly, my voice still a bit hoarse from just recovering. Ethan, we are already divorced. What I post is my freedom. Freedom? You ruined my reputation. Ruined Chloe. Do you have any idea how much this will affect the company? The company? I laughed. Which company? The one where you cheated during our marriage, schemed to transfer assets, and used cold violence to force me to divorce? Or the one where you and your true love teamed up to con me? What nonsense are you talking about? Ethan's voice was a bit flustered. What asset transfer? Didn't you willingly sign the divorce agreement? Didn't you receive that 10 million breakup fee? Yes, I received it, I said calmly. At the time, you said the company needed to do the books before going public, and a fake divorce would make it easier. After the IPO, we'd remarry. You said the 10 million was to put my mind at ease. I was so stupid to believe your lies. Ethan, at this point, there's no use in saying more. For the sake of our acquaintance, I'll leave you with some dignity. If you keep pestering me, I won't hesitate to reveal even uglier things. Ava, you. I didn't wait for him to finish speaking and hung up the phone immediately. Then, I blocked his number and all related contact information. I changed to a new SIM card and left that chaotic Slack group. I posted a new update on my Moments. No, I mean Facebook. This time, it was a photo of the divorce agreement and a scanned copy of the divorce certificate, clearly showing that our divorce date was on the very day Apex Innovations went public. Caption, the dust has settled. Grateful for the past, looking forward to the future. The rest is still unwritten. Under this post, the comments exploded instantly. Shock, inquiries, disbelief. Those colleagues who once mocked me were now completely silent. Some old friends who used to be close sent me private messages, asking what exactly happened. I simply replied, met the wrong person, cut losses in time. Looking back at the truth of the divorce, it's actually very simple. On the eve of the company's IPO, Ethan found me, his expression sincere. He said that in order to facilitate capital inflow and optimize the equity structure, it was necessary to temporarily go through divorce procedures. He promised that this was just a temporary measure, and once the company successfully went public and stabilized, we would remarry. He even transferred $10 million to me on the spot, saying it was to reassure me and also compensate me for my years of dedication. Although I felt uneasy at the time, seeing his solemn determination and recalling the hardships we had endured together, I ultimately agreed. I didn't even handle the procedures myself. I entrusted the lawyer found by Ethan with full authority. On the day of the IPO bell ringing, I dressed elegantly, stood by his side, and faced the media's flashing cameras. It was that very afternoon that I received the divorce certificate sent by the lawyer. I became the backdrop for his victory celebration, only to be kicked aside afterward. In fact, I had long vaguely sensed something unusual between him and Chloe. Those overly intimate interactions, the fleeting look of provocation in Chloe's eyes when she looked at me, but I always held on to a sliver of hope, believing that after so many years of feelings, it wouldn't be so unbearable. Looking back now, Chloe probably started scheming long ago, urging Ethan to divorce, gradually pushing me out of his world, and taking my place. Originally, even after knowing the truth, I didn't intend to make a big scene. After all, we once loved each other and fought together. I just wanted to get my share of the property and then part ways, wishing each other well. But during this rescue, their indifference and mockery at the critical moment of life and death completely shattered my last bit of hope. Since they are unkind, don't blame me for being unjust. I have decided to fight back. A thorough counterattack. I dug out my old phone, which contains even more things. It's not just text chat records. There are also many recorded video calls. Chloe deliberately sent them to me as a provocation. In the footage, Ethan and she are in the office, in hotels, and even at our own home while I was on a business trip, intimately close, speaking all kinds of indecent sweet talk and plans. More importantly, I have some evidence in my hands. Evidence of how Ethan, before and after the company went public, used various means to cleverly transfer the marital property that originally belonged to both of us into his personal name, and Chloe, who abused her position to embezzle company funds, falsify accounts, and is even suspected of tax-related issues. I originally had no intention of using these things, but now, the time has come. I contacted Marcus, the financial director of our company. He is an old employee I personally recruited during the early days of our startup, loyal and reliable, and has always had some reservations about some of Ethan's later actions. I sent him part of the evidence regarding Chloe's embezzlement and tax issues. Marcus, do me a favor, report these things anonymously to the relevant authorities. Marcus quickly replied, Sister Ava, rest assured, I've been holding this in for a long time too. I know there is still a group of veteran employees like Marcus in the company. They are partners who worked hard with me during the early days of my startup, loyal to me, and cannot stand what Ethan and Chloe have done later on. They will be an important force in my counterattack. However, Ethan seemed indifferent to my report, or rather, he simply didn't take it to heart. A few days later, he actually sent me a WhatsApp message, through a backup number I hadn't blocked. It is a photograph. He and Chloe are kissing under the sunset, with a carefully arranged proposal scene in the background, and roses covering the entire lawn. He also included a video showing him kneeling on one knee, placing a ring on Chloe's finger. Chloe is smiling with pure happiness. He also added a sentence, Ava, see, this is true love. I'm finally free from you. Honestly, I got tired of you years ago. It was Ethan. Provocation. I hung up. Barefaced provocation. Does he think this can enrage me and make me suffer unbearably? He was wrong. I looked at that photo and just found it ridiculous. He didn't even remember that I was severely allergic to roses. The third time, I answered. I sent him a photo in return. This is a screenshot of my police report receipt. Postscript, gift for you. Enjoy. The content of my report was that Ethan was suspected of illegal activities. Of course, this is just an introduction. I know, the real problem is Chloe. Sure enough, before long, I received a call from the police asking me to come in for questioning. When I arrived at the police station, I saw Ethan and Chloe. Ethan, with an angry face, pointed at me and said to the officer, Officer, it's her. She's slandering me. Those chat records are all fake. She's taking revenge. You have to investigate her thoroughly. Chloe nestled close to Ethan, tears welling up in her eyes, looking as if she had suffered a great injustice. She looked at me hypocritically. Sister Ava, I know you're upset, but there's no need to drag this to the police station, right? How about you withdraw the case, and resettle this privately? I watched her act and sneered coldly. In front of the police, I directly played a recording. Silence on the other end of the phone. It was the voice message Chloe sent earlier in the Slack group, mocking me for playing dead to gain sympathy. That sharp and bitter tone stood in stark contrast to the pitiful appearance she has now. After listening to the recording and reviewing the other evidence I provided, the police officer's expression grew serious. Miss Chloe, the officer turned to her. Based on the preliminary investigation, you are suspected of fraud and illegally obtaining company property, involving a large sum. You are now being detained according to the law. Please cooperate with the investigation. The handcuffs clicked shut. Chloe screamed. It's not me. She framed me. Ethan, save me. Help me. Ethan was completely stunned. He looked at Chloe being taken away by the police in disbelief, then suddenly turned to me, his eyes full of complexity. Ava, what on earth is going on? You turned around, ready to leave. Ethan caught up in a few steps, grabbed my arm, his tone urgent, even tinged with a hint of pleading. Ava, please help me. Help me save Chloe. I know I was wrong. It was all my fault before. I'm begging you. The world became quiet. I shook off his hand, my gaze icy. Ethan, from the moment you and she laughed at me outside my hospital bed, there has been no relationship between us. She is your true love. Go save her yourself. After speaking, I didn't look at him again and walked straight out of the police station. Before getting in the car, I blocked Ethan's backup account once more, returned home. the home that Ethan and I once shared. Now, I am the only one left. I looked at the room full of things that belonged to Ethan, his clothes, his books, his photos. They just felt like an eyesore. I found several large boxes and packed up everything related to him, leaving nothing behind. Donated the clothes and threw personal belongings directly into the trash bin. Then, I called a locksmith and changed the door lock. Next, I contacted a cleaning company for a deep clean. I also got in touch with a renovation company and transformed Ethan's former room with the best lighting into my study. I replaced the furniture I like, arranged the books and decorations I like. This home finally completely belongs to me. A few days later, Ethan returned to the home doorstep with Chloe, who had been bailed out. They found that the key wouldn't open the door. Ringing the doorbell, no one answered. Calling me, of course, the call wouldn't go through. The property security, having received my prior notice, politely asked them to leave. Sorry, Mr. Ethan, the owner of this apartment is Ms. Ava. She has instructed that no unauthorized persons are allowed to enter. Ethan was furious. What Ms. Ava? This is my house. My name is on the property deed. The security guard took out the registration record. Mr. Ethan, we have verified, and only Ms. Ava's name is on the property deed. He probably forgot that. To avoid taxes, this house was fully paid for by my parents before the marriage, and from the start, only my name has been on the property deed. He is merely living here. When the security guard asked them to leave, Ethan and Chloe's faces turned extremely ugly. The next day, when I went out to work, Ethan stopped me at the entrance of the community. He looked much more haggard, with dark circles under his eyes and a scruffy beard. There's nothing to talk about. I tried to walk around him and leave. He grew anxious and reached out to stop me. Ava, listen to me. The divorce is fake. I really did it for the company. Proposing to Chloe was also to spite you. I didn't know you were allergic to roses. He even took out his phone to show me the so-called chat records, trying to prove that his relationship with Chloe was just a fling. Those chat records were full of holes, obviously fabricated at a glance. I stopped in my tracks, watching his clumsy performance, feeling nothing but irony. Ethan, enough. My voice was calm and steady. First, we are already divorced, legally recognized. Second, are you proposing just to spite me? You know well in your heart, I don't care. Third, we've been together for 10 years, and you wouldn't know I'm allergic to roses? Your lies can't even fool yourself. I pointed at Chloe beside him, who was glaring at me with a look full of resentment and jealousy. Also, put away that line about women shouldn't make things hard for other women. The ones who truly despise and scheme against women are trophy wives like her, who climb up by relying on men and stepping on other women. Chloe turned pale at my words, screamed, and tried to rush over to grab me. You're talking nonsense, you jealous woman. Ironic? Ethan instinctively shielded Chloe behind him. This action completely extinguished the last faint trace of any lingering old feelings in my heart. I looked at Ethan, my gaze as cold as ice. Control your dog. If you dare lay a hand on me again, I won't just call the police. After saying that, I left without looking back, leaving Ethan and Chloe behind, standing there like two lost dogs. To defend Chloe in court and prove her innocence, Ethan spared no expense. He used a large amount of funds to hire a top-tier legal team. He even disregarded the objections of the company's shareholders and misappropriated the company's liquid assets. He also tried to threaten Marcus and the other senior employees who stood by me, urging them to withdraw their testimonies or provide false statements. Marcus and those senior employees directly submitted their resignation letters. They are the team I personally built, and their loyalty is beyond doubt. Having lost the core financial and technical backbones, coupled with the previous whistleblowing, the tax authorities soon came knocking. The remaining new employees were completely unable to handle the complex account audits. All kinds of problems were laid bare: tax evasion, falsified accounts, illegal operations. Apex Innovations, once a highly prestigious publicly listed company, was soon shut down. The bank account was frozen, and the office was sealed with a notice. He stood at the entrance of the sealed company, like a statue, lost and despondent. A former employee passing by coldly reminded him, "Boss Ethan, have you ever thought that all of this might have been done by Sister Ava?" Ethan was struck as if by lightning. He suddenly pulled out his phone and called me from an unfamiliar number. As soon as the call connected, he almost shouted, "Ava, is that you? Did you ruin the company?" "Yes," I admitted it straightforwardly. why did you do this? All these years of our relationship, even if we're divorced, you can't treat me like this." His voice was hoarse, filled with unbearable pain and disbelief. "Feelings?" I laughed, the laughter carrying a cold sarcasm. "Ethan, you want to talk to me about feelings? Who was it that, when I helped you pull the company up and it was just starting to improve, began scheming to marginalize me? Who was it that, on the eve of the company's IPO, used the excuse of a fake divorce to trick me into signing an agreement, transferring all the valuable shares and assets into their own name? Who was it that, when I was sick and nearly died for you, laughed at me with your mistress behind my back? It was you, Ethan. You are the one who pushed me step by step into a dead end. You are the one who personally kicked me out of the company we founded together. Now, what right do you have to question me?" Then, Ethan's suppressed sobs came through. "Ava, I was wrong. I really was wrong. Please let me go. Let Chloe go. Let the company go. I beg you." His voice was filled with regret and despair. The once lofty and spirited Ethan was now as humble as a dog. "Let you go?" I retorted. "When you and Chloe mocked me back then, did you ever think about letting me go? When you embezzled company funds and fought the lawsuit for her at all costs, did you ever consider the fate of the company? Didn't you win the lawsuit?" I said more sarcastically. "You spent so much money, hired the best lawyers, and still lost in the end. Doesn't that prove that the things I reported were all true? Also," I paused, deciding to deliver the final blow, "do you know what kind of person your true love Chloe really is? Her real name isn't Chloe at all. She was originally called Lee. A few years ago, in another city, she used the same tactics to scam a marriage and money, driving her ex-husband to jump to his death. Later, she changed her name, altered her appearance, and then came to our company. Ethan, when you hired her, didn't you even do the most basic background check?" On the other end of the phone, only heavy breathing remained. "I know, this information is enough to completely crush him. Ava, I'm completely broke right now. Can you lend me some money?" Ethan's voice was full of pleading. "No," I refused coldly. "You chose this path yourself, so you have to walk it yourself." After saying that, I hung up the phone. From then on, Ethan completely disappeared from my world. I used that $10 million breakup fee, along with the savings I had accumulated from managing my own finances over the years, to register a new company. I reached out to Marcus and those former employees who had left Apex, inviting them to join my new team. Everyone was instantly on board. I reconnected with old clients I had accumulated in the past, and with solid skills and a good reputation, I quickly secured new orders. The company got on track and flourished. I sold the house filled with unpleasant memories and exchanged it for a larger riverside apartment. I met new friends and started a new life. Everything was moving in a positive direction. Until a year later, I unexpectedly heard news about Ethan. He actually went all out for Chloe, losing everything, even borrowing huge sums of high-interest loans, and hired the top legal team in the country. He forcefully turned a case with solid evidence and an almost certain loss into a settlement with compensation. Chloe was ultimately ordered to pay a huge sum to Apex Innovations, which had by then been taken over by bankruptcy trustees, but was spared from imprisonment. Of course, in the end, that huge sum fell on Ethan. On the day Chloe was released from prison, Ethan sent me a message from a new number. It was a photo of their wedding. In the photo, both of them were emaciated beyond recognition, but their faces bore a strange kind of happiness. Ethan also added a postscript, "Ava, I'm getting married. See, even with nothing, Chloe still chose me. Do you regret it? If you came back to me now, maybe I didn't finish reading it and just blocked him. My company secured an important project, and that night we held a celebration banquet at the hotel. Cups clinked amid a lively atmosphere. Suddenly, a ragged, gaunt man rushed in, lunging at me like a madman. Ava, you can't treat me like this. The company is ours. You have to add my name as a partner." The security guard quickly and skillfully stopped him. He struggled like a madman, cursing and shouting incessantly. Seeing him like this now, I feel nothing inside. After being dragged away by the security guard, Ethan actually took me to court. The reason was that the property division during the divorce was unfair, and he demanded that I pay alimony. He exploited a loophole in the property notarization of the divorce agreement, and on top of that, the lawyer he hired was indeed very skilled. In the end, the court ruled that I had to return the $10 million he had gifted me back then. I did not appeal. Money, to me, is no longer the most important thing. I transferred 10 million to him. I heard that he used this money to hold an extremely grand wedding with Chloe, lavish to the extreme, as if to prove something to the whole world. On the day of the wedding, my new company rang the bell for its IPO on the Nasdaq. The overwhelming news coverage. My team and I stood under the spotlight, full of vigor and confidence. I wonder what expression Ethan had when he saw the news. It must have been quite something. He completely broke down. After that, he started coming to see me frequently, blocking the area downstairs of my company, blocking the entrance of my residential community, each time more miserable than the last, each time more humble than before. He no longer mentioned the company shares, only repeatedly said he regretted it, begged me to forgive him, and begged me to come back to him. I repeatedly had the security guards drive him away. The last time I saw him was on a rainy day. He was soaked all over, his face was frighteningly pale, and his lips were purple. He stopped my car, his voice barely a whisper. "Ava, I'm sick, very sick. Can you save me?" I looked at him, the man I once loved and once hated. Now, there was only estrangement and distance left. "Ethan," I rolled down the window and said calmly, "people must take responsibility for their own choices. The path was yours to choose, and the bitter fruit is yours to bear." I climbed up to the car window, and the car slowly drove away. In the rearview mirror, he collapsed in the rain. A few days later, I received a call from the police. Ethan jumped from the rooftop of the apartment building he was renting, died on the spot. The police told me he had cancer, in the late stage. It had been a long time. I went to the funeral that day, dressed all in black, expressionless. Chloe was wearing mourning clothes, her eyes swollen and red. When she saw me, she lunged at me like a madwoman. "It's you. You're the one who drove him to death. Ava, you're the one who killed him." She was held back by several of Ethan's distant relatives. Halfway through the funeral, a man in a suit and tie walked in. He was a representative from the insurance company. He announced that Ethan had purchased a large life insurance policy several years ago. The sole beneficiary of the policy was Lin Shui. Wait, Lin Shui? Oh, I remember now. This is my Chinese name. It was the name I told him when he first met me. Later, to fit in, I always used the English name Ava, and even he almost forgot my real name. The insurance combined with some trust inheritance he left behind, probably a backup plan when transferring the assets, totaled $20 million. I became the heir to this enormous fortune. As for Chloe, she didn't get a single penny. Instead, she was burdened with astronomical high-interest debts that Ethan incurred to fight the lawsuit for her. I heard that not long after, she also took her own life in despair. Returning to the empty house, while sorting through the last box of belongings Ethan sent me, he mailed it before jumping. I found an old notebook. Opening it, I saw Ethan's handwriting from when he was 17. Chloe's face instantly turned pale, naive, yet resolute. It was filled with his wishes. On one page, written in bold font, it said, "Find the girl named Lin Shui. Tell her I love her forever. I want to marry her and make her the happiest woman in the world." Below that, there was a line of small, crooked handwriting. "If I fail, if I make her sad, then may I meet a miserable end." I looked at those words, silent for a long time. Fate is truly a strange thing. His vow from years ago became a prophecy fulfilled, and I have finally become the person I wanted to be. Independent, strong, no longer needing to rely on anyone. The sunlight outside is just right, shining warmly and brightly into my new study. The rest is still unwritten, but this time, the one holding the pen is myself.